Welcome back to the Untitled movie podcast. We still haven't got a name, and I think it kind of stayed untitled. Shout out to the streets that been saying they gonna kick our ass since we haven't done a show.
Yeah, sorry it's been so long.
Yeah, and the original show we were gonna do was gonna be Greenleaf versus Blind Spider, but it's too late now. The Oscars didn't happen.
Not Greenleaf, Green Book.
I know. I keep on calling it Greenleaf. Fuck that
Green
movie.
Book
Green Book. Fuck that book.
and
movie,
Blind
though.
Spotting. I think we should go back to that
At some
eventually, so we can discuss white male, black male friendships. I think that would be an interesting topic.
The main
Let us
thing
know
is
what you
this:
think.
this man taught a dude how to eat fried chicken in the movie. A black man how to eat fried chicken. That was disrespectful for the streets. But no, this one is going to be we're reviewing the movie Us, Jordan Peele's second film in his series of horror films. Because he says he has 4 films that are in this series, so this is the second of the 4. So another thing is people understand that Get Out they're in the same universe as Get Out. This is in the same universe as Get Out. Mm-hmm. He's basically saying, but they're not connected. They're just within the same kind of realm.
I think there's opportunity for connection, though.
Yeah. I can see definitely a lot of connections between them both. But we can dive in a second, though. Raven, how you been?
Pretty good. Can't believe we're this far into the year already, and it's been so long. I think the last one we reviewed was Creed 2, so it's been quite a while.
Yeah. This is the first one of this year.
Yeah.
The first one,
doing great. Happy
New
New
Year.
Year,
Happy New Year, everybody. Yeah. So we have our guest. Don't look at me like that.
I thought you were going to just give my name and set me up, but that's cool.
Yeah, but
D-Boogie on the 1s and 2s.
There you go. Boom. There you go. Damn. Do you want to give your Instagram over or anything?
Diana_Marissa, Marissa.
And she is joining us on this episode. She has her opinions on this film. But let's go into it. We are starting a new rating scale for everybody. Basically our rating scale is going to be a 4 to 5 step program. It's going to be depending on the film. But the first is potential classic. This is for new releases when we do new releases. Potential classic, must see, matinee, streaming, or don't even waste your time.
Yeah.
So those, what do we have here? So what do you got, Raven? For what is your opinion on it? What is your rating?
I'm teetering between must see and potential classic because of how unique it was. Although I would definitely probably rate Get Out as a potential classic, I'm kind of teetering on whether this one is just a must-see or if it's also a potential classic.
Okay. Diana?
I would have to put it at a matinee level.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Controversial opinion here.
Would you like to expound on why?
We're just going around right now.
All right. I'm going with potential classic, man. Like, I love this movie from top to bottom. All the different small little things in there. Like, especially me being an 80s kid and seeing different stuff. Like, yo, I forgot all about that. Or, like, you seeing different, I guess the kids say, Easter eggs in this film. And he really made you have to want to see this film. I saw it twice. And it makes you want to see it multiple times. And even more than Get Out, I think, to a certain extent. And I'm not saying it's better than Get Out. It's just a different type of feel and way you look at this film than Get Out. Get Out was more direct towards you, and you just got, like, surface things. And I think that's, as we talk about this, I think that's an issue that some people had, that they expected Get Out Part 2 with a black family.
I would agree with that. I've only seen it once. Frankly, I wanted to see it again before recording this because I think that there are so many metaphors and symbolisms in this film that everything means something. And I feel like there's so much that I missed out on the first time around. I want to see it again so I can understand some of those metaphors a little bit better. But, there was still something for everybody. Even if you're not into, interpreting all of the metaphors, it was still suspenseful enough.
Oh, man. It was a good horror film.
Yeah. It was just a good horror film,
Diana?
For the suspense part of it, I'd totally agree with that. I could appreciate that piece of it. The nuggets and the metaphors and the things that you're discussing there about finding the little Easter eggs is part of the reason I left it a matinee. It's just not something I'm looking for in a film. That's just a personal opinion. And maybe in my mindset going into it, I just wasn't prepared for that at the time. But it just was more hunting and work than I was wanting to do for a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start it out. what do you? I guess. What's your overall? What do you think the overall theme of the film was? Like, what do you think that the overall film, the theme of the film was about?
The forgotten ones, the oppressed. I think Lupita represented opportunity and hope for the tethered.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was. I mean, even the recurrence of the Jeremiah 11:11 and the 11:11 throughout the film. And I had to look up the Bible verse, but it's the Jeremiah 11:11 reads, "Therefore, thus saith the Lord, behold, I will bring evil upon them, which they shall not be able to escape. And though they shall cry unto me, I will not hearken unto them." And I think that was, the theme throughout the movie. These are people that the government created for an experiment, and when the experiment didn't work, they completely forgot about them, and it's a metaphor for the way we treat people here in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all that. At the same time, I also think it may be just our underbelly of who we are, though. Mm-hmm. Like, at some point, how we, and I guess that's the overarching one, but more I'm thinking about, like, man, like, that's the underbelly of who we are, where there's this fucked up people. And some people, and that idea, I think, because I start thinking about it more and more, the idea that people, their other tethered person becomes a person you see above ground. Most of us keep that little carnal thing below ground, but when the other one comes up and it's like, yo, you're a sheep in wolf's clothing, of a thing of like, you let your tethered person, that underbelly of who you are, show outwardly. So that's kind of how I was kind of thinking.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It seems like a personal representation as well as an overall representation of people.
I like that thought, Daryl. The mic is further away because my dogs are in my way. In case you hear panting, it's not me. But I do like the idea of it being like maybe the ugliest parts of ourselves that we reject or don't want to reveal, and there's something to that. So I like that thought. But my more immediate reaction was closer to what Raven was describing, especially in like our current climate culturally. Mm-hmm. Like it just felt like very timely in that way, and I would have connected the dots more of the way that Raven described. But both make sense.
So let's talk about why you fell asleep in the film.
Oh God. No, I think there was alcohol involved that has nothing to do with it. So I don't want people to. I think it is suspenseful enough that one should stay awake. So
but you fell asleep.
I did fall asleep. Theaters have reclining chairs these days. It's a lot for a person. But no, I think it's some of the like quieter, kind of those like deeper, like introspective moments where I'm having to like read into certain messaging. Like we were like, when the biblical quote came up, we were like looking it up and researching certain things or trying to read it into certain stuff. I think, I don't know, there's just like some quieter pauses in there that happened, and it caught me for a moment.
Yeah, in Diana's defense, if I hadn't been so excited about the film and if it hadn't been hyped up so much,
you would have been
I could see it losing my attention. Because it did move fairly slowly in the beginning. There were a lot of quiet spots. Yeah. But I think I went into it with a different mindset and excitement. But I think if a complete stranger who'd never heard of Jordan Peele or seen Get Out may see this movie and like when is this going to pick up? Mm-hmm. And there were a few people that walked out of the theater that I was at.
Oh, really? I heard people. Some people booed in my theater.
There were walkouts.
So. Some people booed in my theater.
Yeah. So this is not a universally enjoyed movie.
See, I kind of look at this film before we kind of dive into a little more like how like somebody's second album, people don't really like it that much, but like over time you're like, man, that album was kind of dope. Mm-hmm. It's just that they kind of went differently than you thought, that because that first album was so good, they wanted to like kind of expand their artistic ability and like want to do something else, and you're like, I don't know about
Reel
that.
It back in.
Yeah. But you listen as years go by, you're like, oh, that was a dope album. That's how I think this movie film is. Okay. It's the Nas' second album, which is It Was Written. This is AZ's second album, Pieces of Man. I'm just giving out random albums. I know
I
some
like that though.
Pieces of Man.
Yeah.
Not
like that sophomore album again.
now I like the idea of the sophomore album comparison.
Yeah.
And I do want to go back and watch it and see if I feel differently the second time.
Yeah.
I mean, even thinking about like Outkast, even like people like, oh, I didn't know about this ATL. They had aliens. Like that's how we're kind of thinking of how this film is. And I think people, if they watch it again, they'll be like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Peele got our attention with Get Out. He's, wanting to show us what else he has going on in his brain. Frankly, I like it.
Yeah, no, I would really dig it, man. So Diana, so how long were you sleeping this film? I know, because I know how people are gonna, what they're gonna ask.
I believe, when you're asleep, it feels quick. I know, I would say a good 10 minutes.
Did you feel like we can just go ahead and jump to the ending reveal? Did you feel like you had really missed anything?
No, I didn't.
Not knowing what you missed. Did you feel like, oh, I don't know how we got here because,
No, I didn't feel like I missed anything. I don't know. Although, with that ending reveal, I just still, was left with questions. So maybe, I don't know if everyone was left with questions, probably, but...
I think everybody was left with
so I don't think it was relating back to my nap.
Okay.
Were you tired? Did you go after work?
I did, yeah.
And you drank
after
too.
work, we had a little work happy hour, and then I went. It was a thing, so...
Yeah, that's always a problem. That'll do it to you. Tired from work, that whole thing. That'll do it for you every trip.
Yeah.
So let's start from the beginning of the film.
Okay.
Lupita's character, which is Adelaide, she is out with her parents at the carnival at the Santa Cruz Boardwalk. Now, this is where it gets a little Easter eggish. They talk about the movie Lost Boys in here.
Yes, one of my favorite
movies. So he said, so her dad says, yeah, they're doing a movie over here.
Yeah, they're filming a movie.
And it was the Ferris wheel scene from Lost Boys.
Yeah.
I thought they was going, and when I heard that, I knew immediately, I was like, 86, Lost Boys. I thought they were going to say, it's in the same universe, oh, these vampire dudes are here too. I thought it was, he said the movie's being filmed there. I was like, oh, okay, well, then the movie's being filmed there, that's fine. And she goes into the mirror room.
Find yourself here.
Yeah.
Find yourself here. And then she basically goes through all these different things. She drops her apple, which I heard is supposed to be a metaphor for the red, and then that's why the kids they wear red suits. It's from her last color she really knew was red from the red apple.
Well,
Go ahead.
Yeah, go. Let's
I read different things about it, but they were saying it was Jordan Peele's appreciation for Thriller and Michael Jackson. It was connection back to that signature red that he wore in the video.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting thought.
Yeah, and then I've also heard that it represents rage and it also represents the Republican Party.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's interesting.
So that took me to another place with it. And so then next up, they flash forward and then they go to the family ride in the car.
Yeah, but can we talk about how blatant it is that find yourself here?
Yeah.
So I just want to say that I wish that I could have watched this movie from a different perspective, and I ruin movies for myself a lot of the time. But I knew from the beginning that they had switched places. So I found myself really confused about the rest of the film and the way people were responding and reacting to her and her reactions to things. Because that's kind of where I thought we were all kind of supposed to know that. So I was just kind of confused for a little bit of the film, and I was like, oh, wait a minute, I think that's going to be the big twist at the end.
Yeah. But I think it's the journey of you finding out why she got switched.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing.
I don't know. I was kind of rejecting the idea of that really being the case because there were other confusing things if that were true.
Yeah.
They were hinting at her son realizing, I guess there are certain moments of realizing that something's off, and I'm like, is this all just happening, culminating at this moment? Wouldn't you have known your entire life that she was different? Why now then?
It's your mama. You don't think about how you didn't realize your parents may have been good, bad, indifferent to them until you were older, and you were like, hold on, man, they kind of rock like this. You think your parents are like everything when you're younger. You don't know their deficiencies and what they're bad or wrong with.
The age where he was able to see her, I guess.
But no, he saw it directly in front of him. That's a different thing of it's like seeing your parent. Yeah, but I'm saying, but he's starting to see that at that point. It's not like he could see it because he doesn't have discernment as an older person. He just is a kid and like, it's my mama, I love her.
Yeah, and she might not have been exhibiting the craziness that we saw in the film either. I mean, she was a little bit different and quiet, but not anything as outlandish as she exhibited when tethered.
Yeah, I knew something was wrong with her when she couldn't snap on beat though.
Yeah.
That was my
Oh
first
my
one
gosh.
though.
I was like, is this
Like, I ain't got
that
5
was
on it.
intentional.
Yeah, no, it was
Yeah.
intentional. But I was like,
Yeah.
she got 5 on it. Like, this ain't,
Yeah.
this ain't it right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we can go back to the
Go
House
back,
of
yeah.
Mirrors though.
Yeah.
Something else I wondered, and I might be kind of jumping ahead or all over the place, is young Red Adelaide, the first tethered to get out. Like, I kind of had the feeling later on in the film that the homeless man that was holding the sign was also a tethered that may have switched places with his.
Yeah, no, he was the first one to come out because if you remember when they came into the town.
No, I know that he was the first one to come out and kill his counterpart. But I wondered if from the beginning of the film, like they had already switched places because he wasn't speaking from the beginning. And I just kind of had a hard time believing that Red would be the first person to figure out how to go up the escalator.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And that goes back to, shout out to Teddy Simpson, his plot hole devices with it. But my thing with that is that they don't know that if you don't know that something exists, you don't know to go to it. And also because
he never left the boardwalk.
Right. But I'm saying, that person may have been the original person, is what I'm saying, because Lupita was the only one that saw the other side.
Right.
But then he was like, "But why she doesn't leave in general?" And this is going a little bit farther, but have you ever seen somebody that you'd be like, "Yo, this dude got a PhD, or he's super smart, or she's super smart," and they in some fucked up situation, and you'd be like, "Why they ain't going above that?" They just stand to where they are. They stand within the station of where they're at, though, and they adapted to what their situation and said, like, "I can't get no farther," or they don't care about it.
Yeah, I also have an overall thought on that too that may be like so outlandish that it's irrelevant. But I wonder if it would have been that easy. I have a hard time believing that they lived down there unsupervised for that long and that place was that clean.
Yes,
and
that was
run that well.
So you're saying that somebody was in there coming in, making sure everything was cool.
So. I think that's where their suits came from. I think that there were people down there that were still monitoring them and, participating in this experiment. And I think there's an opportunity for a prequel here.
Okay.
So I think that at some point there was someone down there with them.
I didn't think about
I'm not
that.
quite sure
that.
when the experiment was abandoned or even if it was. Maybe the tethered killed all the scientists or whatever that were down there. And I almost think that or hope that Jordan Peele left things so vague to leave room for a prequel. To all of this, to explain, what was going on down there.
Yeah, I like that a lot better because we laughed at the fact that it was so like clean and like pristine. Maybe there was something that sterileness that was there was intentional, but it just felt like ridiculous.
Yeah, but there were classrooms.
Yeah, it's like this would not be. That would never be the case. So.
Yeah, and you're talking about these are people that don't have a soul that are just kind of walking around like.
And they eating rabbits too, though. There ain't no blood or nowhere.
Yeah,
So
right.
somebody had to come in through cleaning up. You're right.
Yeah.
So and maybe that's the part that she couldn't. That it wasn't easy for her just to leave and just get out.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the reason I brought all that up. I don't know if it would have been that easy.
That's interesting. If she can just get out, like obviously get out, to a certain extent. So move forward. So we see them in the car. They listen to "I Got 5" on it. It's a classic. And she can't snap on beat, but she's trying to keep her kids on it. And it was like everything, I guess. So you knew from that point that she was a switch then. So were you looking for it at that point of like?
I knew from the point where they did the flashback to the mother saying, "I just want my daughter back," and she wasn't speaking.
Right, and she said that
kinda,
she can't speak.
Right, I figured it out from that point. I don't remember if that scene was before or after the.
It's
car ride.
it's after the car ride.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
So
after the car
I
ride.
don't know if I knew that then when during the car ride scene. I don't know if I thought much about that scene in general. I thought that was another sort of slow moving.
So were you watching her as she was as they go to the house and all these different things? Are you watching her like she's up to something in general? So were you already skeptical of her in general?
I was skeptical of her starting from the whole when they were on the beach. So again, I don't remember when that scene came in where they did the flashback. I think it was before they went to the beach. So that may have been where my skepticism truly started, because I think when she was saying that she didn't want to go, I understood it as sort of a PTSD issue.
Yeah.
But then once they showed that flashback scene, I'm like, oh, this isn't even the same woman. So I started observing her behavior a little bit more.
What about you, Diane? Or were you asleep at this time?
My nap, I believe, is around the car ride.
So this is a gray area for you.
All right.
So when they get there and they get into the home and they're hanging out, does it find interesting to you that the first time she went back to that beach is this time?
Yeah.
So her family owns this house. The first time she's ever been back to that beach is this time.
Because I feel like Winston Duke's character said that they had been back before.
No, they've been to that house, but not to the beach.
Not to the beach. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, because her family owned that beach house for years or whatever. But they had never been back to the beach. That's why she was like, "No, I'm good. I'm chilling here though."
Yeah.
So how many times did everybody come though for years, even family wise, and she just stayed there?
Yeah.
That's something you're like, yo, she ain't even been back, and I don't know why she chose that time to go back. Like she could just kept it the same that she normally the status quo.
Maybe she finally felt safe.
Nah, she said. Remember, she said that I feel her trying to get back. Like remember, she said I feel her.
She felt that energy.
I feel her trying to get back.
Yeah.
So let's go into some of the characters on a deeper level. So Winston Duke's character, what did you think about him?
I liked seeing a black corny dad.
Super corny.
Yeah.
We talked about Carl Winslow off air before we started. So basically, he's like Carl Winslow.
Yeah.
Almost like a Carl Winslow.
He was just soft for me. I hate to say,
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Don't do it. Okay.
No.
It's me being in jest.
Okay. I appreciate like letting a woman be the heroine, like feminist, strong character, and like seeing a woman as a villain and the person who's saving everyone else. All those things are great. But I also was like, get up, be stronger, like fight back. And like, granted he was injured, but every other film I've seen, like he pushed through it and fight, and he's just like.
He got hit with a bat in his leg though.
The person I saw it with will also argue that like, oh, but did you see how they twisted his knee? But like, get up. Where's your adrenaline for your family or fight? I don't know. I just like.
Well, I mean, his kill count was pretty high.
He got up. Eventually got to it. It was just, I don't know. His whole demeanor for me was a little.
It was cheesy, but I just appreciated a different portrayal of a black man in a movie.
Yes,
like,
I love that.
It's that simple for me.
We either DMX or Eddie Murphy in a movie.
Yeah.
I liked Howard University.
Yeah,
repping on the sweater. So it was pretty cool.
Didn't she have an AKA glass or mug or something?
Oh wow, I didn't even think about that.
I thought she did. Maybe I made it up. I don't know, but I think she did.
And this woman that couldn't even talk before though. So you went to college?
She could have,
I guess so. Yeah, I mean, he seemed like he wouldn't have married no girl that was just working at Jiffy Lube.
Oh no!
Speaking of her not being able to talk before, I read something about like intentional choice phrasing of words or inflection that she was using to kind of point to the fact that this was some imposter or like a learned language. Yeah. Did you guys get a sense of that when you were listening to her speak throughout the film?
Not specifically.
The second time, yes.
I did notice that when she was on the beach, she told Elisabeth Moss's character that she didn't like to talk much. But then I kind of took it all the way back to like my general view of the film of nature versus nurture. And all of them may have had the ability to speak if they had had the opportunity to
be able to be in that situation.
Because
I'm assuming her parents, regardless, like her dad being drunk at the spot, thought that they had money. They owned a beach house.
Yeah, I mean, and they had money to go see a psychiatrist.
Yeah,
so,
they in the 80s.
Yeah, that's what they nurtured her into this. So
so her parents had some money.
Yeah.
Shout out to the dad. The dad is going to be Candyman.
Oh.
He played
Winston Duke or the other one?
No, the dad. Her dad is going to be Candyman.
Yeah, I'm forgetting his name, but I know that Winston
Duke
played in
and
he was an Aquaman. I know.
He was an Aquaman. He also was in The Get Down. He played Cadillac in The Get Down.
Oh, okay.
On Netflix.
Oh, I might be saying his name wrong.
It's Mateen.
Yahamadula Mateen.
Yeah.
So he, Lupita, and Winston Duke all went to the Yale School of Drama together.
And like, if you ever listen to interviews with the dude Mateen, he literally just applied because he literally was unemployed and he just applied because he was like he was working like a regular job. He graduated from like college, had a regular job, and he was doing some like theater stuff on the side just to play around. And he just only reason he applied is because he was unemployed.
Well, worked
And he
out
got
for
in.
him.
And they all went at the same time, right? They were all there at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, that Yale school, that is also Angela Bassett went there too. So when you saw Lupita, so when they're all there hanging out, and even before, even going back when they show like the rabbits at the beginning, did you even know? I was like, what the fuck does this even mean?
I'm still trying to figure out the significance of the rabbits, honestly.
The rabbits is just fucking. They're fucking, and they just produce
The
without
reproduction?
thought.
I thought about
That's what I thought.
I thought about like labs and testing. That was
Oh
my
yeah,
first
that's a
thought.
good one.
Yeah,
That's a
I
good
thought
one.
about
And just
that.
like
You didn't fall asleep that long. I mean, you do.
I saw rabbits. They were present multiple times.
Yeah.
Testing and like frenzy and just the crazy of like I know they showed them running kind of rampant in the underworld, and there was a scene with them more organized. What were they in
When they were
cages?
in cages
or
at
something?
the beginning.
Yeah. So I noticed that, and I just thought, yeah.
I did think a little bit about Alice in Wonderland and going down the
Oh,
rabbit
that's
hole.
cool. Yeah.
But when Alice can't come back though.
Right. Right.
Do you all look at so you said Winston Duke, you felt like he wasn't a man's man, I'm assuming?
Did I think he was?
I said, you think he wasn't like
I mean, no, he wasn't, and that's okay. It just was like, I mean, it kind of added to the comic relief a little bit.
Yeah.
That's nice to see and break from a more serious moment, and he does a good job of inserting a little bit of humor and bringing you back from that. So it helped in that sense. But yeah, I definitely didn't think man's man.
So for me, we're going. Let's fast forward a little bit. So they end up showing up, the four trio. When they show up and they're just standing there, what was your first thought? Like, I mean, we know this is like a strangers movie, like the movie The Strangers type of thing. Like, do you like?
Yeah, I mean, the previews gave it away.
Yeah.
So there was really no suspense in that moment for me. I was just kind of like, let's hurry up and.
Like what? Let's find
Get it
out why
going.
why. So, but at
Yeah.
that point, though, you already felt like then that she'd already got replaced at this point though, because
Yes.
the psychiatrist thing had already happened.
Yes.
So you're saying like these people come back to get her, like they wanted something. You knew they wanted something from her.
Yes, I knew they wanted something from her. I didn't know exactly what it was, or like what the original Lupita Adelaide's angle was, and I wasn't sure. I'll just be clear too. I wasn't sure. I just kind of thought that may be the case, and then I got confused out of I was like, well, maybe that's not the case, but yeah. So I mean, I was just at that moment. I just kind of want to know, who are they and what do they want.
Were you asleep at this time, Diana? Or were you back up?
I was up. That was an intense moment.
Okay,
so
it kind of because everybody's like,
straight up
oh.
with that one, yeah. But I knew who they were, but I didn't know what was about to ensue.
So when everyone came in, they're sitting there and they're all kind of like positioned to be directly across from their clone, basically. What was your first thought, especially when she started talking?
My first thought was, how did they procreate and create these children?
Oh.
Yeah, so so my immediate thought was like, well, how were they made?
I mean,
And because she talked about being shadows, so I was like, okay, so are they literal clones, or are they sort of metaphorical pieces that came to life?
see, that's the $1 million question about this film, I think, is that like, they say that they're tethered and they live your life off of someone else, but if she was the original, then why she couldn't live her life differently?
Right.
If she's unless there's something going on, like you said, with the scientist thing, like, yo, well, shit, you down here now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then
You
they
fin-
didn't really give us anything to build upon
Yeah.
that theory.
No.
So
We don't.
that would have helped me. I would have
Yeah.
appreciated something like that.
So you'd appreciate it, like them, like, hey, like if some doctor's like, hey, you down here now, though, man.
Something. Give me something.
Sucks to be you.
Make sense of that.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm still a little bit confused about who was controlling who. Like, were the tethered, controlling the people?
Well, that was the original
real
plan, was
world?
for them to, they made those clones to control the people above.
Yeah, but then they didn't have souls or whatever, so then they couldn't. But I think Red replacing Adelaide shows that they do have souls and they do have consciousness and they do have the ability to learn and engage with people.
Yeah, they made up a language with them amongst each other, even with the little grunts and whatever it is. That's the language.
Yeah, they still figured out a way to, and then and they were in a position to be inspired by Lupita when they realized that she was different. So I can't remember what the original question was.
No. The original question was like, so when you see these characters all together, sitting there together, what do you think when Lupita starts talking? You're like, oh shit! Like, are you like? Cause she looked crazy as bad shit.
Version of her when she spoke.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand why her voice was the way it was. I just was like, I don't know if that was really her from like childhood, Adelaide. Then is it because she didn't use her voice?
Yeah,
much?
you don't have nobody to talk to.
I mean, but would you just stop talking? I guess eventually. I don't know.
Yeah, think about if you're like on a desert island, you would just not be able. You didn't
Yeah.
use your voice, so your voice is gonna be raspy.
sounded
Your
more
vocal
like-
cords have been used to.
So she's only using it in this scenario.
Yeah, my assumption at that point was that she hadn't spoken, and then we learned later on that she probably had her throat crushed.
Really? What? From
The
what?
little girl choked her.
Yeah, but I don't know if her throat got crushed.
It sounded like she was like
Struggling.
to speak, gasping for air. That's what I was like, what does this even mean?
Oh wow, I didn't even
So
think about that.
she-
So you saying that she literally probably choked her to death? You saying?
and maybe
Yeah,
damaged her voice box. That would
yeah.
make more sense to me because I'm like, just because she didn't use, I feel like she would use her voice in some sense or trying to like, the reason that she was maybe selected to lead these people was because of the voice. So that she probably was using it, even if you're going crazy, talking to yourself, she'd be using it. So if the voice box was damaged, that makes more sense to me.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that. Like she's a little girl who was speaking up until that point. She wouldn't, get kidnapped and dragged into this location and decide to stop talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that she'd be like, "Yo, somebody help me," and like, what you doing? What are y'all doing? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So looking back when I rewatched it again, you could tell Lupita knows what's going on. I see, like, it's almost like.
Which Lupita? Sorry.
Right.
Oh, Adelaide.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about this, Red is the original Adelaide. Adelaide is the clone. When I'm talking going forward.
Okay.
So Red is the one that came from the bottom. That came in. That's the raspy voice. She's the original Adelaide.
Okay. When you say
Got
red,
it.
you mean original.
Yes.
Okay.
Got it. Okay.
So-
Red is the one in the red suit.
Yes.
Even though she is the original Adelaide.
Yes.
Okay.
Understood.
Yes. She knew it was like somebody is like when you see like Boogie Nights or something where somebody comes in and like in Boogie Nights, he's like he knew they was coming for this drug money and he was like, oh, okay. This is what we up to now, huh? Okay, well let's can you, everybody sit down though and let's figure this all out. Let's all talk about this. And that's how that felt. In that scene of like when you rewatching you like she said, okay, so she has told her like, yeah, when she said tell her daughter to go run, go run. Like, yo, just run. I'm gonna figure this all out. We just need to extend the time.
Yeah.
It's like she knew. You understand that she knew over what's going on. Some people believe that she didn't know, she forgot to a certain extent that all this happened. Like where you just blindly made yourself believe that you are who you are. Like what they say, like, man, you tell a lie so long that you start believing that a lie actually really happened. Some people say that. So that's what the genius of the movie is, that you could take so many different perspectives of this film from different areas.
Yeah.
So what did you think when she, like her sitting there? You haven't seen it again though to really trip off of it, but like so actually moving back though more though when she was like, "Yo, we gotta go. I feel her here," like, and she saw the 11:11 on the clock.
I think she knew that if Red returned, it was over for her. Like, it was not going to be any sort of negotiation. Let's see how we can both exist in this world. No, I am taking you out. So I think that she understood that, and she thought she could get away if she left. And her knowing that world, having been a part of that world, she probably knows what the tethered were capable of.
Yeah, because you were 9 or 10 coming up. So then, do you think that Dana, were you asleep during that point?
I was up then.
You was up then during that.
I found it interesting that she didn't immediately like try to kill her, the handcuffing scene, and that she wanted to keep her there maybe to question or for some other some unfinished business perhaps, like why didn't she try to kill her? So
I think it's a thing of not clarity, but she wanted answers of like, why did this happen?
yeah.
Why do you, like she said later on, why didn't you just take me with you? We could have did this together.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you could have ended this.
Yeah.
Exposed this to the world.
Yeah.
But you didn't want to. You was like, yo, I'm going to be the Clarence Thomas of this area down here, though. We going to make it on my own.
Yeah.
That was actually one of the lines that made me question whether or not I was right that they had switched places. When she said you could have taken me with you, I thought that it was the original Red.
See, that's what threw me off, too. When I was like, man, maybe they switched them. When she said, like, you could have took me with you. But she's more thinking, like, you could just told me who you are and came out. I would have took you out and, like, we'd have figured this out on the back end. But she's like, no, I need to take your spot. I figured out what's going on.
What did you think about her line when she was asked, who are you? And she said, we are Americans.
Hey, man, that was pretty real to me. That's pretty. I mean, and I guess that's your immigrant angle or your angle of people that are lower class, all those different things. But at the same time, man, like, man, it's a rough one because the film really made you think about what you want to think about, and which is a great film for that. It isn't, and I think some people want to be guided. Exactly, I need an A, B, C, D. Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, and I need an explanation for what all of this
Everything that is, I think it's disjointed on purpose.
Yeah.
It's all over the place on purpose to a certain extent, but it's cohesive to a certain extent because you still got an ending, and it's not like some other films that I won't mention. We'll talk about at some point. Shout out to Plug Love.
Oh, God.
The streets want us to do Plug Love at some point.
Okay. I finally watched it, so we'll do a Plug Love review.
No, so going back to the tapes with those zombies coming up is did you see the movie Chud that they had on?
Not.
I've never seen Chud though. Yeah, I never saw Chud though, but I saw Goonies.
Yeah.
And I saw the Steve Martin movie that I can't remember now, The Man with the Brain or whatever. Because he ends up putting that brain, it was a woman's brain, he ended up putting it in the brain, actually marrying a woman.
That sounds familiar. But I don't know.
Yeah, you've seen it though, probably as a kid. He basically, it was a brain, and he could psychologically talk to the brain. And he ended up trying to get the brain into a body. And it didn't be like a super fine woman like you would want to put the brain into a woman's body, that'd be fine. She ended up being okay looking, but he loved her still. And like that was the end of the movie. And those are the three films that you see when they scan across with the old TV in the Santa Cruz, I would not loft, but the Santa Cruz cabin and everything. So when you saw them come out with the scissors and they were like, yo, we got these scissors. What did you think about the scissors?
I just was wondering where the heck did they get these scissors from?
That was what I thought too though, man. Like,
and and that's the reason I keep thinking that there is something else. There has to be a prequel. Because I do agree that Jordan Peele intentionally left a lot of it up to your own interpretation. But there were so many things that we question here that I think he has another explanation for it that's coming. Because those were some really nice scissors.
Yeah. Let's hope
that's why I think it might be the inside job somewhere. Somebody, like you said, somebody there was like, yo.
Yeah. Because I don't know what sort of resources they had down. Even if you could say that they created all of these things, what sort of resources did they have down there to do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they folded up all their clothes neatly. That what other people close said, like, yo, we ain't doing this no more. But I think the prequel area that you're thinking about has got to be one, because they said they shut down the program at one point. They shut it down.
Yeah.
So did somebody from the program shut it down and was like, yo.
We're just going to leave all these scissors down here too?
I mean, or I'm going to come down and holler at y'all. I'm trying to help liberate y'all too. And I can talk to this one woman that can talk.
Yeah.
And I can talk to her.
No, I wish that Jordan Peele, if you happen to listen to our little podcast,
Yeah.
I would love to consult on your next film script. Because I definitely have some ideas for how that could go.
Yeah, I got one. I got a great idea for a script. The back end that women give men STDs.
Okay, that's not what I was talking about.
No. It'd be like a crazy
What?
thing though. Like it'd be crazy.
Like turn into a horror film type thing?
Yeah. So it will
That
flip,
is people's ultimate, like, the worst fear.
but it will flip everything about like how women are like constantly being bombarded with sexuality and like have to look for themselves. But like, yo, if you try to take something from a woman, or you may die, or you may get something. That'll flip the dynamic though. Then you got women out. It'll be crazy, man.
Oh my
Sounds
goodness.
ridiculous. Okay.
No, it doesn't sound
I
ridiculous,
like
man.
it.
It sounds.
I like it.
The movie you were trying to think about earlier with Steve Martin is The Man with Two Brains,
There we go.
starring Steve Martin and Kathleen Turner.
Yep,
I think
yep.
I did see this one.
Yeah, you remember this probably as a kid though. If you saw it, like you'd be like, oh man, yeah, I remember that a lot.
Yeah, 1983.
Yeah. So Lupita moved. So so everyone starts scattering. The dad gets taken out to the boat. The kid goes to the closet. She says, and so do you read the theory that they think that the boy was switched
No.
like the year before? There's a theory that the boy got switched the year before.
I don't know how that would
Oh,
happen.
whatever.
That sounds silly to me.
Yeah.
I don't even. No, I haven't read that theory. And
Yeah.
I don't see
But-
how that would make sense.
But I was wondering, but that with the tethering, but I guess it's a bad or a good thing because you saw Winston Duke realize that when he hit his head, though, he can get him to fall, like hit his head too, don't fall in the water. They were that connected.
Yeah.
Is it a thing of you being connected to that other tethered person more? That's why he could do what you do.
Possibly. Yeah, because it seemed like the boy, his tether mimicked everything.
Yeah, he could
did.
he could make him do whatever he did.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe it's an age thing.
Maybe it was a sex thing even too, though, because you got to think the girl was not identifiable with hers either, though.
Or maybe his clone was fucked up in the head. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know because she said show him one of your magic tricks, and I read another theory that the reason his face was burned
Because he burned up something.
well because I forget the little boy's name now, but when he's doing that magic trick, that lighter doesn't actually work, and he's
Yeah.
doing it close to his face, and so the tethered is working with a match that actually does light, and so
And
he's
he
lighting
burned
it,
it- and he
probably
burned
how he
up the
set
face.
his face on fire.
Yeah, that was real. Like, oh wow, like, this dude's got a. And then he pulled it off, like letting him like, yo, you fucked me up, and I can't do nothing about it.
Yeah.
Diana, were you asleep at this point? I know there's multiple naps you had.
No, I was up for that. Thanks.
You have any input on that since you were up?
I was just reading more about the names and the polar opposites of the names for the people in the underworld versions of them, and how their names, what meanings they had that tied to it. I thought all that was pretty cool. Did you guys read on that?
No,
I
I
did
did
not,
not.
no.
Okay,
Educate us. Educate us.
Yeah, so Zora and Umbre. Zora means dawn, and Umbre is meaning like the darkest shadows. So it's like the light versus dark versions of themselves,
wow.
Okay.
which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And then let's see, Jason and Pluto. They're talking about Jason and like a connection to the mask and Friday the 13th.
Oh, okay.
Stuff like that. But Pluto, basically it's saying like it's the furthest from
The sun.
and so it's like cast off into eternal darkness, basically. So that was just some interesting thoughts about
Yeah.
why they named what they were named.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
I
this
like
film.
that stuff. That part I don't mind because it doesn't take away from if I didn't know that. It's nice to like a little nugget later on, like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But
So, what was your issues with? Let's go into this.
I mean, I think Raven touched on them. A lot of just like stuff that just didn't make general good sense. Like little just like access to certain things that just didn't add up. Things like that. But it's okay. I mean, it was still suspenseful. It's still a good watch. I still would encourage people to watch. It's just I can't imagine it being like a classic film.
Okay.
Tell me why you do believe it is a classic.
Because it gives you interpretation. Classic films always give you more interpretation. I feel like in general,
Okay.
especially now, like it's easy to do a Goodfellas now. I feel like yo, you could do a dope film about some mobsters and make it dope. Every idea has been done. What are we going to expand the idea, expand the mind state of what we think of how a movie is supposed to be made? And that's why I was like, yo, like, even with Get Out, like, Get Out expanded the way we look at race to a certain extent.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people went in thinking it was going to be a race movie, too. Because they saw a whole black family, like, oh, it's going to be white people to set them up. And I think when they got in there and they didn't see that, it wasn't their expectation. Same thing I was saying with the second album, when they're like, oh, I want to get Illmatic again. I want to get the first Beyonce album again. I want all those firsts again. And it's not what you expect.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, no, I think it's a classic, a potential classic because of the originality. Along with the cult classic influences. Like, I read that Jordan Peele had the cast watch his favorite 10 horror films so they would have sort of a shared language. And you can see all of them.
What were the 10?
So some of them I've never seen. Like, I don't know what Dead Again is. I haven't seen that. But The Shining, like, you definitely saw that influence with the twins.
You could tell she was The Shining. Like, he basically made Lupita into The Shining.
Yeah. The Babadook, It Follows.
It Follows. You've seen It Follows?
I've seen
I
that.
have, yeah. A Tale of Two Sisters, The Birds, Funny Games, Martyrs, Let the Right One In, which was remade into, what is the remake with the kids? Let Me In.
Let Me In. Yeah.
And Sixth Sense.
Oh.
So you know
That was a horror film?
Yeah, I mean it was.
Okay. I thought that was more suspense, but
It's suspenseful.
Yeah, some people interpret it as a horror film, but yeah. So I mean, it's the originality for me that I think makes it a potential classic, and like you said, that it makes you think, and not just like with the plot twist, but
no, just in general, just the general he's put in front of you. So we end up just kind of fast forwarding for everybody. So if you haven't watched this in general, I should have said at the beginning, though, spoiler alert. I'll put a tag at the beginning. When we were going through all this drama between them, what was the point where you're like, yo, this is just not this family? I thought it was when the white family got murked. And I was like, oh wow, this is something bigger than them going after this family.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Did you know that? Did you think about that beforehand?
I did not. I did not originally think that until they showed the Elisabeth Moss's family. I didn't know that it was a worldwide or a countrywide thing until then. And is it a countrywide thing or is it just a statewide
no, it's
thing?
country.
I don't know.
It was country.
And then when they showed that
No, they showed the whole country.
wider like aerial shot and
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that looked just like it was like in the California mountains.
No, that was, remember the
Just
thing.
like
They was in the
way-
cities. Remember they were in the cities doing that too. Yeah, New York and
fair
stuff.
enough. I just don't know if it's a worldwide thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's some shit the U.S. would do, so it
Yeah.
might just be a countrywide thing. But no, I mean, obviously, I didn't think it was just limited even to these two families after
Yeah.
they revealed that. But in the beginning, I did think it was just limited to this one.
Yeah, so I thought when they showed them, I thought that their family was gonna come there, and then that black family was gonna kill all of them.
Yeah, that's kind of what
That's what I thought too. But then when they just jumped out like, bah, 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 I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
what? Oh wow, this went to another
Yeah.
place of something else. I don't even know what's going on now.
Right.
And you're like, yo, they just jumped out and it's like, oh wow, so it's got to be everybody's got a clone in. And so I knew then like everybody's got a clone, but then you're trying to figure out why
Right.
all these clones are the clones.
I did wonder at one point if the tethered could only kill their original,
No,
but then
yeah.
they showed the
twin tried to.
girl. No, the
No,
girl.
Adelaide, wasn't it?
Well, it was the girl that was running. I'm forgetting the daughter's name.
Yeah.
But she killed the neighbor, or at least
Mhm.
the
Oh,
neighbor
yeah,
when
that's
she was
right.
standing on top of his car or whatever. So I was like, okay, well, no, that's not what's going on here. But I kept wondering, why are they letting Lupita live? Like, she just tied her up and then was putting on Elisabeth Moss's makeup. Like, why not kill her?
I think that the leader said, yo, you get her, I want her.
Either that or she smelled her, that she was, also a tethered.
Wow.
I think it's like yo, like, hey, I want her for myself.
Yeah.
Because they would smell that the other girl wasn't a tethered either, though. I mean, Red wasn't a tethered either, though.
No, I'm saying that's the reason she didn't kill her. Because she knew at that point that Lupita's character was one of them.
Was one of them.
Yeah.
And then the first scene was with the son when he saw her grunting when she killed the twin.
Yeah, I
Like,
wondered what the heck was going on with her, too.
And I was like, wow. I was like, that's when I first start thinking, like, man, she knows something about them, like she a part of them is
Yeah.
when she started grunting when she killed that twin, the second twin.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Another little fun fact for anybody
Yeah.
who liked Friends. The
I hated
twins
Friends.
played Emma, Ross and Rachel's daughter.
The baby?
The baby.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
What? Oh no, they had a daughter?
Yep, they had a daughter.
Oh, wow.
They had
Friends.
is adopted, or did they have like a baby?
No, they had a baby.
Oh, my
You
God.
obviously did not watch the show.
No. Last time I remember they got married. And I thought that was the end of the season.
No,
that show.
they had a baby before they got married.
Oh, and that so they basically did it like Full House with Mary Kate and
Yes.
Ashley Olsen. Okay.
Yes.
Where
Very
one
cool.
kid played both of them, or one baby played both,
Uh-huh.
or twins played both.
Yes. Yeah.
That's a nice little fun fact.
Yeah, damn, that's a hell of a Easter egg for me. Like,
Yeah.
That's not even
Yeah.
Easter egg.
That's not, no.
Easter egg. They just need an acting job.
yeah, and they probably was like, yo, this ain't been rocking since we've been babies, and our mama got us in here. No, we ain't got no checks. We got them DVDs popping. We were trying to sell them for a minute on Amazon.
Anyway.
As we go forward, so you find out that you see the news reports, see everything going on, that it's everywhere. Then they decide to go out and like try to drive against the coast. That was the idea. I'm going to drive against the coast. So then they get to the area back. Basically, it seemed like it was back where they were almost.
looks like they
back
went home.
they went back. No, they went back to Santa Cruz where the beach was.
Okay.
That was outside Santa Cruz.
Because she said, "Is that our car?" When
Yeah.
they got there. Okay.
Right. So they
Yeah.
drove their car there.
Yes, yeah.
and put it there. And then you see, so what was weird is that when the boy was mirroring other boy, it was like he knew already that it was mirrored though. Like, yo, I got this. Hold on.
Yeah, he knew that he had that much control over his tethered self.
But no one else had that awareness?
No, Winston Duke did too, because that's why he banged his head down though, for him to bang his head
Oh,
down
okay.
Yeah.
and fall off the boat.
Okay.
But I don't know why. Maybe it was accidental. Even when I saw it at the same time, they're like he did it, and it was almost like he was struggling with him. Then it happened. Like it was like happenstance
Yeah,
that
I
happened.
thought it was just a coincidence, and then he looked like, oh, I did. Oh,
Yeah.
Now you have that as a.
It's a nugget for you to know. But the little boy knew like
Yeah.
we've been
Oh yeah.
we've been vibing on these lighters.
Yeah, but Lupita's character. I mean, she was so. What do we call? So we're calling her Adelaide, even though she's the original bride.
Right.
Okay, but Adelaide was sad about the tethered walking into the fire. So I thought that was an interesting reaction.
Yeah,
This
even
is
with the
like-
girl with her back broke over the thing
Yeah.
though, she was like,
It shows some kind of empathy or.
but it's like,
sadness.
but is it really empathy? Or it's like, damn, you was one of me though. Like, cause I think of it like that, where it's like she's like, I feel like Lupita's character Adelaide is the most selfish of everybody. Like, have you seen like people? I mean, y'all, everyone has seen that, but people that have extreme amount of money or extreme amount not giving a fuck, well, they'll care about their kids so much, but you'll be like, oh man, they're a great mother, but they're a horrible person. It's just they care about their kids because that's their kids. They don't give a fuck in general.
Yeah.
It's just that they're kids though, so you think that they're a good parent,
But those weren't her kids.
right? But she's looking at her kids though,
Yeah. Okay.
and physically looking
Yeah.
at them and like, yeah,
A copy of them.
right.
I mean, but I think she did feel some, sincere empathy because they were like her.
And that's where she
Or
came
that's
from.
where she came from. Yeah, those could have been her kids. If she had stayed in the underworld, those would have been her kids.
But she wouldn't have had any emotion. She wouldn't maybe had emotion to have.
She clearly so that's one of the issues I have with this. She clearly had some sort of emotion or ambition because she had a desire to get out and replace the girl.
But it shows her nature versus nurture though, I want to break through this area of being this, and I'll learn this other lifestyle, this other culture of way of living after I get there.
But so I'm wondering, is there just something special about Adelaide Red from the beginning? Because anybody else could. I mean, the escalator, was going down, but it obviously was. I mean, we've all run up an escalator going down before, and she was able to do it. And
Against the
was
grain,
that just
sure.
something special for
Yeah.
her? I mean,
The others didn't have that
that ambition.
ability or critical thinking, or something else was missing.
Yeah.
But people will say that about anybody growing up in the hood or grow up in a bad situation. Like, oh well, you were different. You ran against the elevator.
Yeah.
You thought differently.
Escalator that's only going down. That's another representation.
And that's why I think she thought down upon those other people below her though. Like, she didn't want to go back and save them. Like, I made it. Fuck y'all. Whatever. I ain't trying to go back.
Yeah. But it just shows that there's already something within them that has ambition and drive.
Yeah. And regardless of their situation.
Right.
So then we get the big reveal. We find out Lupita has this big fight with her. Now, this is something I thought about, is that they said that she stopped dancing at 14. Was it because she didn't know how to really dance for real that she stopped dancing? Like, she literally really didn't know how to dance for real.
No, I mean, because the scene where they show, I actually really liked that scene.
Yeah, where they showed them going back and forth with that.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of Black Swan a little bit.
Yeah.
No, I really liked that scene, but she was dancing beautifully in that scene.
But this is the thing though, was the one below dancing making her dance, because
and that goes back to my question of who's controlling.
really who? That's what. Yeah.
But what difference does it make? I mean, I don't know. I don't know if she stopped dancing because she didn't know how to dance for real, or because replaced Adelaide Red stopped dancing. I don't know. And maybe, I mean, that's kind of a good point. I'm kind of thinking this through right now, because Red said that it was at that point that all of the other tethered noticed that she was different.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe at that point, what she's doing in the underworld is no longer tethered to Adelaide in the real world, and she's now started focusing on this plot to get them out of there. Mm-hmm. So maybe they're not tethered anymore at that point.
Yeah, or she's not.
Yeah. Yes.
She's not, but they still maybe are, or she can guide them along the way.
Well, clearly there she has to be, because she went on to, marry Winston Duke.
Yes, that was the confusing part to me, is like how she became that. But then it goes back to my thing of like, she adapted to her theme. She became a tethered by being down there. Mm-hmm. And she just took her spot, like, yo, I'm going to take your spot. You're going to be my tether now. Mm-hmm. And that's not explained, and it goes back to you falling asleep. Mm-hmm. And I get that.
You understand?
No, I understand. No, I understand that 100%. Yeah. So the big reveal finds out that, hey, they switched spots. Now, did the son hear and know then that his mom wasn't his real? I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But she never said.
But she is his real mother.
I know,
that's the thing. Yeah, it happened when they were so young.
Yeah.
Either way, that's your mom.
Yeah, that's
your mom
mom.
was just being strange.
Yeah, I was saying, but did she? But she never said during that conversation that she was. The reveal didn't happen. The reveal happened while she was driving.
Yeah.
So did she just hear their conversation about that? Because she could. My thing is, why Red didn't say like, "Yo, you took my life." She never said that. Mm-hmm. So it goes to me thinking that she adapted so much to them that she forgot that she knew that was her life, but didn't even want that to be the main point of what we got this beef about.
Yeah, you'd think that'd be the first thing that someone's.
Yeah, you took my life.
Yeah, I mean, I think at that point, like, she had probably learned to care for, like, the tethered so much that it did become a different focus.
So like Che Guevara, basically.
To what?
Like Che Guevara.
Who?
Che Guevara?
I don't know what you're saying.
Che Guevara? The revolutionary?
Oh, Che. Sorry. I didn't know what you were saying.
Che Guevara.
I thought you were saying shake something.
Che Guevara. I was like Che Guevara because he grew up with privilege and everything, and ended up being a revolutionary. And he grew up with privilege.
I just didn't know what you were saying. I guess.
I sometimes wonder if that's how it's pronounced. I don't try to say his name often.
I just say Che.
You just say
Che.
Yeah.
What do you?
Che Guevara. I don't know. Who knows?
I thought you were saying shake a rib.
Shake a rib. Che Guevara.
We digress.
Yes. So were you up at all this time, Diana?
I was up.
You were up. So there was only the beginning that you were sleeping.
Yeah, but I mean, it was other sleepy parts in there. I don't know.
So there was multiple sleepy points for you.
Guys, I don't know. I'm just.
She saw the important points.
I saw the important stuff. I'd like to see it again. You've brought up some really valid thoughts that I hadn't considered, so it makes me want to watch again. So I'll revisit.
Yeah. But your question was, how did the son know?
Yeah.
I think it was her behavior throughout.
And he started heard the grunt, and when she killed her that time was really grunting though when she killed her.
It showed his reaction to that, how he looked at her and kind of ran off from that scene.
Yeah. There was something that happened in that final scene that I'm just not recalling. It was something else that she said that made him.
Oh, or then the car ride, and he looked the way she looked
Yeah.
at him. What was said right before that?
I can't remember.
She said everything's gonna go back to being normal.
Oh, is that it?
It was something else.
Yeah, and he was like, "Normal, motherfucker? What you mean? Like it's half the motherfuckers here is dead, if not more."
Another comparison that I saw that I thought was pretty cool that kind of went in line with the Thriller theme. With the Thriller shirt from the beginning and the one glove, that there were a lot of Michael Jackson influences throughout. That the movie kind of ended with the mom looking, like Michael Jackson did at the end of the Thriller.
Oh.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, Jordan Peele's a genius, man, on the law. Because to have that in depth of a situation with the script and the way to think about it, some people think that this is the prequel. I mean, this is the post of Get Out and prequel of Get Out. Because they were the idea is that the family that made the way of transferring tried to do that with the clones earlier, way back. It didn't work. That's why this became a wasteland, and they figured out a better way in Get Out. Now you have these clones after Get Out, and that's where the full circle comes from.
I don't know.
Like a reach.
I think it's reaching too, and it's unnecessary.
Yeah, let them do these other two films.
I think they could be part of the same universe and not be like totally related.
Hands Across America, man. Hands Across America. So, overall, you said matinee, right?
That's me, yeah.
Matinee.
Yeah.
So where can they hit you up at the end and let you know how they feel? With your
Instagram,
yes.
Diana Marissa, Diana_Marissa.
So people can directly hit you up and have issues with you.
Sure. I know they will. They'll come for me. That's because I'm very much a Jordan Peele fan, and I would never tell someone not to see it. I'm so excited for his creative genius. I think it's definitely worth watching and suspenseful, entertaining, all those things. It's just not my favorite thing, and that's okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, convert a picture of it, Raven.
I'm sorry?
Where can everybody hit you up at?
Ms. Culture, MSCULTURE. Ms. Culture.
Ms. Culture.
Yes.
All right, thank y'all for listening as always. No, go ahead, Diane.
I thought you were going to plug yourself.
No, I'm just
no problem.
Everybody
We're nobodies.
Yeah.
They know me. They go. Okay.
So we got a lot more coming in the pipeline for everybody, but we want to definitely get this in, though. Let us know your thoughts, questions. Hit us up, landocalpod@gmail.com. Appreciate everybody listening. Thank you.
Good night.